Welcome in on episode 111 in the KIPS podcast. My name is Tyler Valencia. I'm the president of KIPS and Time to Train Fitness. This episode, I'm calling it Social Media Freezing, Ice Cold, and Heating Up. Meaning I'm going to share some insight into mostly it's all Facebook related in terms of Meta and also owning Instagram, but I'm going to talk about content within those two platforms and which ones I think, unfortunately the word is, that are not as useful for fit pros, fitness professionals, marketing their own businesses at the time. And at the time of this recording, it's almost the end of May. And so things are always changing, adapting. That's something that I always talk about, whether it's in a podcast episode or it's in the course with KIPS, that things are adapting. You got to adapt with the times and where emphasis is being placed. And so I'm going to share some insights into things that I'm seeing with those two platforms and give you some tips in terms of where you can potentially be more efficient with your time. Before we get into it, as always, I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to the KIPS podcast. I know that there's a lot of content out there for fit pros, and hopefully you are taking advantage of it. The free content out there for fit pros trying to grow their business, not even necessarily in the fitness industry. I personally watch content outside of the fitness industry on how to grow a YouTube channel, how to market my business better, how to do paid ads, all that kind of stuff. So hopefully you are always doing that on a weekly basis. When you get a chance, make sure you subscribe to the KIPS YouTube channel. Shortly, we'll be releasing a step-by-step tutorial on building a one-page WordPress website. So you can follow it step-by-step. All the products that you need to build your own website will be in there, and you could literally pause it, do your work, come back, keep going and build your own website. And then lastly, if you need help with developing content, make sure you check out the KIPS course, Social Media for Fitness Professionals. There's going to be a link in the description. This is where you can learn how to do step-by-step content creation for these big platforms, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and even learn how to build those channels. If you are a beginner and you don't even know how to set those things up, you can learn that in this course. I'm going to start this episode by talking about how this episode was developed. I already mentioned that on a weekly basis, I listen to other content out there. It's usually on YouTube in the morning. I find a video, I listen to it, and I try to take something from it, apply it, see if it works. And also as an entrepreneur myself, in my title, when I open up this podcast, I mentioned my two companies, KIPS, Time to Train Fitness. As an entrepreneur myself, I got to learn these things because I have to do a lot of them myself to save money, to be able to understand what's going on and not just sit back and hope things work for me. You got to adapt to them. That is one of the big things I see with businesses these days is they're not adapting. And I did a lot of time as a consultant working and helping companies. And that was one of the big things, that they were trying to do things from 5, 10, 15 years ago and just hoping it worked or it would work now, when that's not how things work these days. These platforms adapt and you can't do the same things and just hope the same results and occur because they worked for you in the past. So this episode, it's really a trial and error. I heard these things, I tried them out, and I'm going to share them with you throughout this episode. So I'm going to start with something that I think is heating up. And like I mentioned, all these are owned by Meta. They're all owned by Facebook. I might slip and use these words interchangeably. And for that, you know what I'm talking about, that Meta is Facebook. That's just the name. And I think it's almost like the whole Twitter. I still call it Twitter. I still call them tweets, even though the platform is called X. With heating up now, a form of content that I think is heating up is Instagram content and Reels. So a few weeks ago, I heard about this change. I would say it's maybe 3-4 weeks ago. I read it. It was actually a tweet on X. Somebody from Instagram talking about that there's going to be more emphasis placed on smaller accounts. And this would be a huge thing for content creators and people that are using the platform. And just a short bit ago, I feel like not even that long ago, there was a big push towards getting people to buy the verified mark. And I think that was really a bad step. I think that in the past, it used to be an achievement for individuals that really hustled, created their brands, or for celebrities that I would say needed them so that there weren't fake accounts out there. But now, I mean, a story that I'll share with you here that's a little tangent, but that is part of these podcast episodes, me going off on a tangent. One of the guests that have been on the Kip's podcast, that's a fellow YouTuber, they were talking about how they were training a group of individuals, a younger audience, and their biggest concern was if the fitness instructor had a blue check mark on Instagram. And when I heard that, I was like, what? What does that even have to do with a workout or someone in the industry? That's your biggest worry, is that they have a check mark on their name. And that push towards people just being able to buy verified check mark, and therefore they would get more reach. It really, I think, was a big step backwards for the Instagram platform. But let me get to the positives of this. I don't want to go off on a rant on this one. In even a shorter amount of time, I've personally seen an increase in the views with the content with Kips. So on the Kips Instagram account, at the moment, I don't place too much emphasis on the reels that are being posted. Monday through Friday, I typically post one reel in the morning, and I don't put too much emphasis in it because there was that period, a long period, where essentially they just took away all the views, all the organic reach for content creators, unless you were paying for the check mark or unless you're doing paid advertising. And so without the return on it, I didn't see too much need to really spend a lot of time, weekly time, creating content for that platform. But I actually, in the last probably 2 weeks, I've noticed this big jump in views on content that it's not like there was a big shift in the type of content that I was creating, the type of reels I was creating, but I've started to really see some of these reels getting thousands of views. The likes and followers, I would say there's definitely more. It's not as big of a jump as the other ones, but there's definitely been a uptick in these things that I would say that this type of content, this platform, it's heating up. And the video I watched that kind of made me put some pieces together is from High Season Co. I want to make sure I give them their credit. I watched the video from them on YouTube, and they were talking again about the bigger emphasis on original content and smaller creators and content that people are also developing off platform and then posting onto Instagram. So I, like most people, I'm still waiting to see. I'm waiting to see that this is really going to be a benefit, to place more emphasis on it, and that it's not just, okay, I have a blue check, I have to pay for a blue check mark in order for my content to be seen and then spend more time on it. But I will say that this is something that's heating up. I would suggest that you try for yourself if you're not there. Of course, learning how to create content that's engaging, content that's going to help grow your followers, but keep this one in your back pocket and ready to potentially place more emphasis on a weekly basis. If you're in the market for adjustable dumbbells or at-home workout equipment, check out Core Home Fitness at the link in the description. From adjustable dumbbells, multi-function benches, and all-in-one options, they got it all. I personally have their adjustable dumbbells and the glute drive that also works as a bench, and would recommend them to anyone building their home gym or looking for easy adjustable options. The dumbbells, they easily adjust from 5 pounds to 50 pounds just by turning the handle and lock in for your safety. Grab yourself a pair and see for yourself how easy they can fit into your fitness program. If you've been a fan of this podcast, you know that before end of each episode, you're going to hear a promotion for the Naboso Duo insoles. I've been using them for probably a year and a half, and I personally think they're game changers. I think everybody should get them, try them out, see what you think. And personally, I've talked about how I used to have foot pain just from sitting at a desk and then trying to be active, trying to go work out, and not really being able to fully maximize it. So I always try to throw it out there for individuals to just try them out, see what you think, utilize them in your day-to-day, and hopefully improve your overall activity level. That's the key right there, activity level. So check them out. There's a link in the description for the Naboso insoles. They have a variety of them to check out, different accessories. Check them all out. See what you think, and hopefully come back and let us know that they've really helped out with your activity level. Let's get back to the episode. Next one I'm going to talk about here is ice cold. So something that I think is cold that I don't know if it's going to improve. If I was to really give an honest answer, probably not, because it's something that involves organic traffic, and that's Facebook posts, specifically for a business page. So let's say you have a business page for your brand or your training account, or maybe you're running one for your business. I remember when I started the KIPS Facebook page, and this was, I think, 2016, that on just a blog post. So if I was just to take a link from a blog post that I did, share it on this Facebook page, that it would get 600 to 1,000 views organically, easily. And so sharing posts on this page was part of my weekly routine. I still do it. But again, I don't place much emphasis on it, but organically, boom, 600 to 1,000 views easily. Good, easy traffic. And now it's maybe 15 to 30. Not joking on that. 15 to 30 organic views, the reach on it. And you hear that big difference there, because it's a very big pay to play model on Facebook. They want you to pay money to them so that they could share your account. And with this, I also see Fit Pros that are sharing this type of content. They're sharing links, blog posts from big corporations on their business page, their business brand page, and it's taking traffic away from the platform, which Facebook typically doesn't like, but also you're not creating engagement on it. So that leads me to my tip for this one, that if you are going to be sharing something like this, you're going to take a blog post that you didn't write, share it to your Facebook account, but then reshare it on your personal page to your audience, and then try to create engagement off it. Maybe there's a question that you're posing with it, that you're creating some type of tie into yourself, or that you can basically get people to engage with, that they'll read it, they'll engage with. And this is a way that I think you can build your audience. That's one of the pieces that I think people miss out on, is they are missing out on how do they get their audience to come back and learn more about them. They just share this link. Okay, I'm done. And when you are missing out on that opportunity. So sharing it on your personal page, I think, can be a big benefit if that's really the route you want to go. But with the individual brand component of it, think about it. That's what influencers are. They share a lot about themselves. I know that's something that people, they have a negative outlook on. They think, oh, I don't want to share every piece about myself. Well, share what you feel comfortable with. Just start small. And you think that all of a sudden, a business is going to want to sponsor you or anything like that down the road when you're not even doing it now. You got to get in that rhythm of doing these types of tasks. If you want to do affiliate marketing, you want to potentially grow a brand that people want you to share the products and all that kind of good stuff, you have to get in that rhythm. So think about those things. Ice cold Facebook posts. Hopefully that tip resonates a little bit with you. And then my last one that I'm going to talk about in this episode is a freezing take. And I call this freezing because there's no reason to even do these anymore, waste time on them. And that is Facebook live streams. And this one is actually one that I'm personally upset about, because I started to develop a free CEU course for the KIPS YouTube channel about live streams. I used to do presentations to health clubs about the power of live streams, how to utilize them, different types of live streams that you can do, and why they can help you organically grow your Facebook page and your brand. And this is one that I started to see in terms of the course I was creating. And at the time I was also doing live streams for KIPS, that you could go to the Facebook page, you could see, but the reach was not there. What was on the slides, what was in terms of the research and why they were beneficial, and the type of organic reach that you're going to get, I was not seeing them personally with the live streams that I was doing. And it got to that point where I was like, okay, this does not match up. I can't share this content with individuals and hopefully get people to get their CEUs with them and go down that road of doing live streams when there isn't that benefit. I'm not seeing that benefit myself with doing these. So I had to stop creating that course. I stopped it. And a part of it too was that it was a fraction, that the organic reach that I was seeing from the live streams was a fraction of some of these reels that was essentially reshared content that it didn't match up. So stop doing those live streams. I think that this is something that it's an issue with Meta, with Facebook. I don't know if they'll ever place more emphasis on again. It's maybe something that they were placing more emphasis on it during the pandemic, during the time when people were more at home, and now they were moving towards another direction. And you could see that with how I talked about earlier with content creation and smaller accounts, that something like this, live streams, it's not really something that I don't think they'll come back to. And that's unfortunate, because I think it was a good and is a good way to organically show stuff about your business, to get people to watch content when it's not as scripted. I mean, that's really some of the content that is the best out there. It's stuff that it's authentic, stuff that it's not as scripted. I mean, there's parts of this podcast that are scripted, and it's mostly just things that help me trigger something in my head. But a lot of it is just me organically talking, because you wouldn't want me to sit on this podcast and just read from a script the whole time. And I wouldn't want to create a script that long. And so I don't know what's going to happen with live streams. I wouldn't be surprised if they just took them away and they're done and nobody's doing live streams anymore. I think other platforms and other industries are tapping into that one, but this is a freezing, this is my freezing take, that it's Facebook live streams and not something I would waste my time on. So that is a little dive into some takes on some social media content and update in terms of where you could potentially place more emphasis with your brand, with your business, and be efficient with your time on a weekly basis. If you are doing any of these things, where to place emphasis, and hopefully get some insight to your own development, content creation. That has been it for this episode. I hope that it's been useful for you. Keep tuning in, keep sharing it, and I will catch you in the next one.